We all dreamed about a Boku no Hero fighting game, one that includes most of the most important characters of the cast, with spectacular combo options and special attacks. And although many of us at first instance would have preferred a game style like Naruto Storm or maybe Dragon Ball FighterZ, the developers at Viking brought us an arena fighter with its own style, entertaining, satisfying, and very colorful. 2 years later, a sequel would arrive to improve many of the unpolished features that the first installment left behind. Welcome to My Hero Wants Justice 2. It's not the first time we see this. The Wants Justice formula ended up positioning itself with a lot of identity and little recognition. Unfortunately, most players were bored by the experience after playing for a few weeks, and we already know that is not good for the developing company, nor for the Boku no Hero franchise, but it turns out that it was enough to develop a sequel. Could it work this time? Well, yes and no. This new title uses practically the same game engine as the first one, that is noticeable at first glance, but many additions were made that ended up giving the game what it was lacking: replayability and community. The story mode continued to exist. In fact, it was treated as what it should be, a continuation of the story of the Boku no Hero manga, having Chisaki as the main villain and obviously adding many more heroes to the cast, of which we will talk about shortly. The first missions featuring a prologue with quite outstanding in-game cinematics. They give you tutorial missions to learn how to play in the first place, and each new story square contained dialogues with the anime scenes and additional objectives to unlock collectible items as we were used to in the first game. For anyone who bought the first My Hero Wants Justice and then chose to play the second one, they would be in for a little surprise. It's exactly the same damn game. But to understand the significant change in this title, we must look deeper into its mechanics, simply because the single-player experience of the story remained stuck in what made the previous one tedious, or not tedious but simply falls very short in comparison with what local or online combats offer. The final battle with Chisaki was the only one that had a unique and good boss fight, unique in the sense that we only face a larger enemy and use the same moveset as in any other situation. It was right here where we saw the second cinematic in the entire story mode, so I think there's no need to highlight anything else about why I find this story mode somewhat lazy. You already know that I don't criticize games just because they have bad reputation. I try to make sure that my opinion is always well founded, and it seems that this is not going to be the development company that worries about having an innovative individual game environment that offers something unique that doesn't always stay the same. Nope, the representation of the story is there, and they only care about polishing a couple of cinematics in the entire story mode, and I don't blame them. It's more profitable for them to focus on their online section. That's what an arena fighter game of this caliber should do at this point. Even if many players don't agree with this business model, these types of games will almost always be linked to it. Fighting game and DLC will be two terms that will always go hand by hand. Some may take it as if they will always be updating their game and that gives them more diversity, and others will take it like a scam and that you bought an incomplete game. The truth is that until now, this model has served them to bring many additional characters to the game that were not in the base game at the beginning, but that is accompanied by patches and seasonal updates from time to time, because of course there are at the moment 51 playable characters, of which 10 are paid characters. Variety was encouraged across the board, and many new faces we met in Season 4 were added. If you're tired of games being too expensive, at Instant Gaming you can buy all the games you want at an incredible price. You even have the option to get pre-orders and gift cards with a big discount. I've been using it for several years now, and here are my latest purchases to show you guys that is completely legit. Cheap, fast and safe. You can check it out in the link I leave you in the description down below. That would be a huge support for the channel. Let's get back to the video. I love how accurately these fighters are represented, the power reflected in Rappa's punches, the fluidity with which Night Tide fights, and the strength and weight of Fat Gum. This is also the case with many other characters who seem like they were born to be represented on this video game. But there's still that ambiguous answer, that phrase we use to describe a work that in its sequel achieved an improvement that seemed to be needed from the start. The second one improved all the errors, as I've read in countless comments. And let me explain to you why, despite being a very similar title, Once Justice 2 is better than the first one. Diversity is the greatest virtue of this game. It's one of the best representatives of modern arena fighter that you can find right now, and for a very affordable price. That is because, unlike many of its same genre, the character roster achieves a very good replayability and versatility factor. That should not be underestimated. In the previous game there was already a bit of this intention to make each character unique, but in the second one that characteristic became the star of each game. And it's crazy because they did it with a game based on an anime. Usually when you have an original roster of characters created from scratch, you can make the mechanics of your game revolve around the skills of these fighters, so that first they have a marked identity, like saying, hey, that attack looks like Mortal Kombat, or hey, that looks like an awakening in Naruto Storm. And second, it gives balance to the fights, a very important aspect in games that also bet a lot on their online mode. It means that there are characters who are good at fighting at a distance, there are characters with incredible damage, others with armor in their entire moveset, so you can try many different combinations without limiting yourself to get tired because you don't always see the same thing on the screen. Assists also contribute to this, as they can be used defensively to avoid an enemy combo, or offensively as an extension to extend your combo and deal more damage. Characters' special abilities not only visually reflect their unique characteristics in the series, but also their unique attributes. Mineta's rubber balls stake stock to the opponent's body, so ends up doing progressive damage. There are skills that remain on the battlefield, altering it in some way. Tell me if that isn't a lot of work for those in charge of the mechanics to take into account in each one of the combat scenarios. This translates into a very pleasant experience, since by maintaining the satisfying feeling of linking combos that was previously generated, it cannot give more than a great result. Not perfect, but very well achieved. Pretty subtle changes were added to the game, such as now you can cancel any of your combos at any time with a small dash that cuts the animation and moves you a bit away. This guarantees that on many occasions that you are exposed, you will save yourself from a dangerous combo, but this uses a stamina meter and you cannot abuse from it. Now, the assists can cast their own ultimate, or well, at least the level 1. Helping to give more participation to your teammates, and the maximum team attacks could not be missing. The ultimate could vary depending on which characters you had on your team, and if you have the correct combination, they will execute an attack with a special cinematic where everyone collaborates. We all know how this works thanks to Naruto Storm again. And here comes the most notorious change, the game speed. When playing the first title, you could feel like something was holding you back from playing at your own pace, as if at some point the characters were about to blow away due to how slippery they felt. That also affected the fluidity of the movements. In Once Justice 2, that problem was gone. The mobility in combat was more accelerated. It let you approach, attack, dodge and position yourself whenever you wanted without needing to depend on a gravity that seemed somewhat lightened. That obviously encouraged new players to try the game. That is a sell factor. A fast arena fighter game with a lot of characters, it sells. People gave it one more chance, and at least the majority did not regret it. In the online section, things remained most the same as in the first game. There were changes that I really liked, such as the penalty for players who intentionally disconnect from a match. The game punishes them by putting everyone who rage quits in a single lobby, and they will not be able to play any other match for a set period of time. Otherwise, the netcode is still decent. The delay is notable in the vast majority of matches, but like all other fighting games with an online section, it was a matter of adapting. In the end, and I really liked My Hero Wants Justice 2, and I hope to see more from this brand in the future, either in the form of DLC or a new installment, but it definitely won't be the last time I play it. It has huge potential, and I honestly would have liked to try it from the day one that it came out. I would love to hear what you guys think about this game also in the comments. And as we always say, thank you very much for watching and reaching the end of this video. That was all for today, and I'll be watching you in the next video. Take care and see ya.